In this video, I'll be showcasing one of the top McGinnis builds currently in the meta. Although she's been receiving some nerfs as of late, I believe McGinnis is still really strong and a viable pick at all ranks. The reasons for this vary, but it mainly comes down to her survivability, utility, and strong sustained gun damage. In my opinion, this build in particular plays to these strengths really well. It's also extremely versatile and can work in almost any game, unlike other builds which may vary in efficacy depending on the matchup. This build was made by the rank 1 McGinnis player, Naked. If you want to find it in-game, it's called Naked's McLightning Hybrid build. He has a ton of other McGinnis builds as well. You can find them in-game by searching his name. If you're looking for some great McGinnis play, be sure to check out his stream. He plays Deadlock at the highest level and regularly participates in tournaments. You can find his stream at nkd_dl on Twitch. I'll be sure to link it below. Let me know what you think of this format where I showcase a pro build. And if you want to see more videos like this, be sure to like and sub. This is a hybrid build, where you'll be focusing on your gun early game, then potentially buff your turrets later, or just double down on gun. Here's the full ability order. I'll go over some potential deviations, but this path can be followed pretty closely in most games. As with most McGinnis builds, you max wall first. This ups your catch potential massively, especially at tier 3 when your wall stuns for 1 second on impact. This is the most important ability to practice using on McGinnis. Not only does this stun apply a 15% damage amp and remove stamina, but it completely isolates your target and segments them in the fight. This is just one of those abilities that you need to be tracking the enemy behavior to use effectively. For example, if you're trying to catch an aggressive opponent, you may want to anticipate them dashing forward to dodge your wall and activate your wall early. After wall is maxed, you want to put a point into Medicinal Spectre for the fire rate boost. This helps your turrets and your teammates as well, so it's a really nice buff to have early. If you find yourself skirmishing in lane often, you may want to put a point into this even earlier. At this point in the build path, I think you have some options. If you're going for full McGinnis and not really using your turrets, you can just put a single point in your turrets for the slow, then max Medicinal Spectre. Especially if you max it early, you want to always be fighting while inside your Medicinal Spectre. The 5% max health regen per second is massive. It'll help keep you up against some pretty heavy damage. The duration and size scale with spirit power as well, so it can last quite a long time if you have a few spirit items. You can also max your turret second if you're pivoting heavily into a turret-centric build. Although personally, I've been leaning away from turret builds lately because turrets have been nerfed yet again in the recent patch. Turret-focused builds are just not very strong right now because of this, especially if the enemy team knows to just focus them down on sight. Personally, I like the standard build that Naked recommends. He levels turrets to tier 2, then maxes Medicinal Spectre to tier 3, followed by turrets. Regardless, your ultimate is always maxed last with this build. Using this build, your ultimate's primary use case is to help clear jungle camps and provide some additional damage when reloading your gun, because you can reload while channeling your ultimate. It'll also be a bit more effective late game, but you're maxing it last, so it'll be a while. Now getting into the item choices. There are notes in his build for some items, so I won't go into full detail on every item, but I'll give my personal thoughts on certain choices you have and point out the larger item power spikes. During laning phase, monster rounds and basic mag will give you massive wave clear. Another solid option is restorative shot if you're facing some heavy harassment. For spirit items, extra charge and mystic reach are great options. It's worth noting, mystic reach increases the max cast range for your wall, so this can be a really nice early pickup. The vitality item choice is pretty dependent on the matchup. One thing not mentioned in this build that may be a good option now is Enduring Spirit, because it builds into Slowing Hex. Slowing Hex is another item that isn't mentioned in this build, but I see Naked building often. It just helps secure kills really often and synergizes really well with your wall. It's important to pick up Bullet Lifesteal pretty early. This is required if you want to win extended trades. Also, it helps massively with staying healthy while clearing jungle camps. Your first big power spike, and the namesake of this build, is Tesla Bullets. This item is amazing on heroes with large clip sizes like McGinnis and Wraith. The reason for this is the shock proc chance is per bullet. This does not scale with your bullet damage like some other weapon items like Toxic Bullets. It takes way more shots to activate Toxic Bullets on McGinnis as opposed to someone like Lady Geist. But Tesla Bullets procs about once every 4 shots, regardless of the bullet damage. So to put it simply, more bullets equals more shocks. Additionally, the shock from Tesla Bullets will trigger bullet resistant Shredder, so these two items synergize really well. From here, you'll want to pick up Intensifying Mag. This item is made for McGinnis. It'll help you outduel pretty much anyone if you aren't CC'd. Also, it just got buffed. The time to max weapon damage was lowered from 3 seconds to 2.7. After this, you have a ton of different options for build paths. Ultimately, you want to pick up most of the core items. Heroic Aura may be one of the most important because it synergizes so well with your turrets. I like Toxic Bullets quite a bit because it helps you shred tanks and provides healing reduction. Also, it technically got buffed in the November 11th patch because it now does max HP percent damage and not current health percent damage, even though the percent was reduced from 5 to 2.5. Alchemical Fire is another great option if you find yourself split pushing often. This will allow you to absolutely melt Guardians and Walkers. It also provides some great utility in teamfights, especially when comboed with your wall. That's all the notes I have on items. Be sure to check out the build in-game to see the full item list. For some general tips, be careful when pushing up. McGinnis has limited mobility and is fairly prone to ganks. If you choose to split push, try to have an escape plan in mind. Consider what corridors you could run to and wall off to ensure your survival. Be sure to play around your power spikes. This goes for any builds, but this build doesn't do too much damage until you're able to get Tesla bullets and tier 3 wall. It's okay to play safe and just use your wall to confirm souls and stay healthy in lane. Make sure to adapt your build for the game you're in. Because this build doesn't have too many must-haves, you can tailor your build to the matchup pretty heavily. Don't be afraid to stand your ground. Sometimes if you know someone is going to chase you, but you're not sure if you can win the 1v1 or effectively escape with wall, just try to duel him. McGinnis is really strong when you're sitting in Medicinal Spectre, but as soon as you leave it, your survivability goes way down. Now that I've covered the main points of this build, I'll provide some general commentary on the game you see here and how I utilize this build in-game. Perfect timing too, because I make a few mistakes here that are worth noting. First, I start Barrage while having static charge on me. Second, I survive and have an opportunity to back off, but I choose to stay. I just happen to dash in right before Bebop starts his ult, so I get stuck behind this statue. Regardless, I was being overly aggressive and immediately paid for it. I'm not really a fan of this wall interaction with bridges in lane. I'm sure other McGinnis mains are very familiar, but if you are on top of the stairs and try to wall at the bridge, it will go above the bridge. You have to be at the bottom of the stairs to wall below the bridge. In my opinion, it should just wall the whole area, starting from the lowest elevation, regardless of your positioning. To avoid this, I try to wall behind the bridge instead to avoid your wall missing entirely. For some context, the average rank in this game is Ascendant 4. Personally, my rank is only Phantom 6, but I've been winning quite a bit lately, so I think my actual rank just hasn't caught up to my MMR yet. If you couldn't tell from my last video, I'm still a little bit salty that my rank hasn't gone up. While I escape here, you can see me pre-firing with my minigun. As McGinnis, especially as you get larger clip sizes, you want to be pre-firing before fights to minimize your minigun spin-up time. I'll be fast-forwarding through sections of the game where not much is happening. For the next few minutes, I'm mainly just farming, protecting our Guardian, and trying to hit 3,000 souls to buy Tesla bullets. Let me know what you think of the high-pitched audio. I think it sounds kind of funny, so I kept it in, but if it's too annoying, I could normalize it for future videos. I show up to this fight on purple and inadvertently make a pretty clutch play. I wall to interrupt Mo's combo on Yamato, but accidentally also stop 7's ult too. This is a perfect example of how wall is such a strong ability. It's massive and affects a large area. You'll often get unintentional value from it like you just saw there. Right here, me and my teammates are forced away from our Guardian by Bebop's ultimate. But I don't leave entirely. I know my teammates are close by still, so we're able to counter-engage and punish them for overextending. Here you can see exactly why I buy Reactive Barrier versus Bebop. Even though I got hooked by Bebop and he was able to land his full combo, I basically took no actual damage to my health bar because of the Reactive Barrier shield. Reactive Barrier is especially great on heroes like McGinnis because you're less mobile and more prone to CC in general. I give the large soul bag here to Yamato, because Yamato is insane in the latest patch, so I want to feed her as many souls as possible. McGinnis isn't typically a hyper carry, and also doesn't need a ton of souls to be effective. It's always important to consider who your carries are when soul bags are dropped. Learning melee wall jumps like this are pretty important in general, but they're especially needed on low stamina heroes like McGinnis. You're going to find yourself out of stamina pretty often, so you'll need these tricks if you want to escape some sticky situations. I missed my wall here, so Mo actually does get the urn turn in, but we're able to kill him after and deny almost all of it. If you deny all the souls that come out of the urn on turn in, I believe you will get about half the total value. I pick up Knockdown in this game because, as you can see, it's pretty great versus basically every single hero on the enemy team. Honestly, our team could build 3 to 4 to 5 knockdowns if you really wanted to. Right here, I wait to clear this wave. I'm holding it in case Yamato wants to share the souls. They tell me they're going to clear yellow, so I end up clearing it anyways. This is that awkward point in the game, where we've taken all their walkers, and the soul urn isn't up, so there's no clear objective to take on the map. Also, not enough enemies are down to safely go for mid-boss yet. So in my eyes, the best thing to do is just to keep lanes pushed in and group with my team. Right here, we're able to catch a few enemies out. This enables us to go for mid-boss. And once Rejuve is secured, this game should essentially be wrapped. If you like this type of build showcase video, please be sure to like and sub. It really helps let me know what you guys are interested in seeing. And if you have any thoughts on how this format can be improved, let me know in the comments. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.